Okay, thanks very much for everyone. Today's webinar is leveraging Solibri to enhance BIM projects. And you can see from the attendance here that we have hundreds of attendees from across Europe, and it's great to see the interest in Solibri. Symmetry also provides a good amount of Solibri training courses. So if anyone is looking for Solibri training, please reach out to your Symmetry contact. Our agenda for today is just a discussion about the agenda, an introduction to the speakers, about Symmetry and Solibri, and what Thomas will do is he will give a live demo of the benefits of Solibri. We will also have a Q&A session at the end as well. So in case anyone doesn't know who we are, I am Sean O'Dwyer and I'm the AEC Division Manager with Symmetry in Ireland, and Thomas is the BIM consultant in the Nordics. Just a quick slide on who Symmetry are. We continuously expanded to provide leading edge technology and solutions along with services to the markets. We have over 1,000 employees that spread across 7 countries in 33 offices, and with that we have over 400,000 users daily. Our purpose is to challenge people to work smarter for a better future, and our mission is to enable businesses to gain a competitive advantage by using leading edge technologies and solutions to improve performance. We are a consultancy-led technology business. We supply AEC solutions to support projects from cradle to grave. We work with clients, design teams, contractors, and manufacturers. Our offerings include software, of course, training, consultancy, technical support, IT support and solutions, document management, and project delivery. We are often working on live projects as a role of information managers, and we support customers through their ISO 19650 certification. And in order to do this, we partner with large numbers of technology providers in the construction and manufacturing space, Solibri being one of them, where technology and automation tools do not exist or are not efficient enough for our customers, we have our own development team who develop applications to support customers' lean journeys as well. So let's move into Solibri. So we found we could see a gap in the market, and we had a discussion with Solibri, and we partnered up with Solibri because of the benefits we found working with Solibri. We found that it has time benefits, cost benefits, and environmental benefits. The time benefits mean you're not spending lots of time running checks that you have no valid reports out of. The cost then is incurred because of you're spending less time. By having the likes of Solibri out on the site, you have the ability to save environmental costs. Solibri has automated analysis rules that can be that can save time, which Thomas will present later. It also has an information takeoff that you can run data and export data out of the platform. And with regards to the BCF format, I can see it in Ireland and across the Europe that it's starting to become a more demanded format as an open BIM solution, where these are some of the key features that Thomas will be presenting throughout the course of the live demo. And if anyone has any questions at all throughout the course of the demo, please feel free to put it into the questions box in the viewer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Should I share my screen then.
Yeah, you share away there, please, Thomas.
Yeah, do you see it?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, so as you saw, I'm gonna show you some of the key elements in Solibri. There will be, of course, a lot more elements to this software that is beneficial, but today I'm gonna start with talking about the integration capabilities with Solibri. And what I mean by that is, instead of having all the IFC files and all the Solibri models local on your computer, you can have it integrated with different types of services. So just gonna quickly go into the integrations and show you this page. We are currently running BIM 360. It also connects to Autodesk Construction Cloud, which is more or less the same. And that's what I'm going to use for this demonstration today. I'm going to open my model, which is in a BIM 360 project. The benefits of this, as well as not having it local on your computer, is that you can have your colleagues can get the model from one space, one common environment, and you don't have to share one file for different people to do different stuff. You can just have it at one place, and then everybody knows that if I go to this place, I have the latest and updated model from the server and the projects. So with that being said, I am going to go on my recent tab and then double click my project. And I'm just going to start off with showing you that since this is a BIM 360 project, or the model is hosted in BIM 360, I also have the ability to see the versions of the models. So if a new version is produced and uploaded to Solibri, no, to BIM 360, I can update the model from within the software, and the version is going to be updated as well. So that's a huge benefit when working with a lot of people and a lot of models, especially bigger projects. So something that we have to notice when starting Solibri, any kind of project, we have to set a discipline. So for this example, we have architectural, ventilation, and structural models. We have 3 models. And I just want to pay attention to this discipline selection, because it is going to be crucial for when we check our models. So when we do a rule check in Solibri, usually it depends on what kind of discipline the models have been assigned to. And in this case, we have the 3 models, as I said, architectural, ventilation, and structural. So I'm gonna go back to that point later on, but yeah, that's an important part of this demonstration. So for those of you who haven't seen Solibri, it's a lot of tabs on top in the software, and as you can see, there's a lot of function. You can also customize these tabs, and today we're going to look at the checking tab, and also we're going to have a peek within communication later on. So starting with checking, as Sean mentioned, Solibri is a great tool for checking your model, the quality of it. It could mean different checks for maybe if the door widths are big enough or the windows are big enough, if you can open windows or not, in what space can you open a window, in what space do you require a window, all sorts of things. You can also check fire exits, if all the spaces have some sort of information regarding fire exit, and the list goes on. It's just your imagination really that sets the limits. So in this demonstration, I've picked a couple of important rules. First of all, this is a rule set. It's a set of rules, and this rule set is included in Solibri software, so you don't have to actually do anything. You can just load this into your project, and a lot of these common validation checks, you could say, is really good and can in some cases be sufficient. But we have to have some sort of knowledge of what the rules actually does, so that we can adjust them and adjust them to fit our needs. I've done some modifications. As you can see, this set on the bottom is duplicates and polygon. This is not something that is included as standard, but I can show you later how to add these custom ones. So what I've done is I've added two rules. One that checks if the model have unique GUIDs, which basically looks for any copies. Are there any duplicates? Do the project include any object that has this same ID? This time it was okay, so that's good. I also included something called a maximum polygon number. And what this rule does is that it looks for polygon numbers for each object, and you can set a limit saying that if an object is larger than, let's say, 1,000 polygons, then this will be noted as a moderate severity in this case. The reason for this rule is mainly regarding larger projects where we see that if an object is very, very detailed, let's say a lamp, or it could be anything really, then this one object can cause a lot of trouble in the designing of a building. We've had some examples from Revit where some objects were about 900,000 polygons, and that meant that one IFC export took over 6 hours. So this kind of check would absolutely be necessary to reduce the time spent on not just only exporting to IFC, but actually working within, for instance, Revit or any other software producing IFC. So let's dive into the actual rule and the settings of the rule. We can right-click the rule and go to rule parameters. And what we're presented with is the rule itself and the adjustments for this particular rule. So just gonna run through it really quick. It checks for any discipline. We could have said this was only for architectural, and that's going back to the first point I made, that when you load in an IFC into Solibri, you have to choose what discipline you are working with. And this is why. So we could only go for architectural, but we actually did go for any. And as you can see down in the list, we have maximum polygon number, and that is set set to 1,000. And if I wanted, I could just add a couple of zeros. Oops. And that will be the new maximum polygon number. Then I had to do a new check, but probably won't find any issues. So we're going to keep it at 1,000 and just close it. So the results are in, and we have two objects. We have a stair and basin. So we can double click on the basins, and there we have it. We can click on the basin, and then we can go and look for, this is something we can do with Revit. If it's a Revit object, we can copy that string and paste it into Revit, and then you can search for it within Revit and get that object. That's something we use frequently in our projects. It's very helpful. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna show you some more, and I'm also gonna show you how to report these things. And as I mentioned, we have the possibility to check for component dimensions, being if a door has this particular width or not. I think this one, yeah, door and window opening must have at least a minimal size. So it's regarding the opening. That's crucial. Door width seems to be okay. Now, if I want to, again, adjust the parameters for this, I can do that. And as you see, when I open it, it's a different kind of rule. So there's a lot of different rules doing a lot of different things, obviously. So you have to kind of find the right rule for your particular case. What we tend to do is we tend to create some generalized rule sets and rules, and then we adjust them according to the project. But there are still some rules that you don't actually have to adjust because maybe they just check for collisions or something more on the easy side. So in this example, we are looking for doors, and we're looking for a width of more or equal to 900 millimeters. We can adjust this just for the webinar, set it to 1100. Again, I'm going to close it, and I'm going to do a new check. I'm going to check it, and now we see that we have some issues pop up. And we can already see that we have wrong value of property. They have a wrong value. The actual value property width is 1000. And I can deep dive into this as well, double click on it, and it will show me the door in question. One little tip here as well, if you want to look at the actual values and see where does the measurement actually go, we can select the door and go to quantities, and we have width here as a property. And if I click it, it will show the actual measurement. We can do the same for window, even if it's height or width for window, we can do that. You can copy this rule and you can create it for any object within the IFC that you're checking. So it doesn't have to be window or door, it could be anything really that you want to check. So yeah, that's some of the more easy ones. And these are really just a lot of these, except the last one is included, as I said. So I haven't done any adjustments to these ones. Something else that could be really helpful in a project could be a clearance in front of windows. This is supposed to be checking for if there are any objects blocking windows. And in this case, we have a lot of columns. And then you have to maybe you have to adjust the rule to say that, okay, this is fine. I'm not worried about these columns. Then you can exclude the columns or any other objects that you don't really care about. Doing the same way that I just did, rule parameters, and then you can exclude objects or exceptionally allowed. Yeah. So when we're talking about the rule sets, we often get the question about model revision and also interdisciplinary controls. You can do that also really easy. We can have a look at the interdisciplinary controls first. We have, excuse me, if you want to open a rule set, you're presented with rule sets that are connected to your role. So my role is a BIM coordinator. I created this myself. So that's why I see these rule sets, but you can adjust this as well. You can add from your local machine as well. But these rule sets are with the program when you download it the first time. So we can have a look at intersections between map and architectural models. I click OK. And just to do a quick check model, we have some building services and architectural models. And the same goes for these rules. We can adjust them by right-click, rule parameters, and then adjust what components are we checking against, what tolerances do we actually include, and so on and so forth. We can also set up exceptions. I'm not going to go into details, but yeah, you can have a lot of customized adjustments for these rules. So you can exclude things that are going through a wall. In this case, a cable carrier will not be seen as a collision. So when I've done all these adjustments, I want to save them maybe to have it in use for a different project or maybe for a later stage. I can go into File and I can go into Rule Set Manager. Now here is where you can create new rule sets and adjust the namings, the descriptions, and everything you want for your project. So I'm just going to open the one that I showed you in the beginning, BIM Validation Architectural. I'm going to open it. And here you can see my duplicates and polygon rule set. And here I can go for changing the name if I want to. Symmetry, yeah. Something like that. Then I can save it. And then when I go back to checking, it should be, I just have to remove it and reload it, and it should be, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Oop. Yeah, I probably did something wrong. Yeah. anyways, you can do all the editing in here and then save it and use it for a later in the project or a new project. So we're gonna do one last check for actually revision control, and for that we need a new model because we need something to compare it with. I'm gonna right click in the model tree and then add models. And as I mentioned, this is a BIM 360 project, so I'm gonna choose my server, project files, and then Solibri models, and here we have one that's called modified. And again, as I said, we have a version tracker here, so I can always see the newest version. Now, one thing that I like to do when loading a lot of IFCs is that I usually create a new category. So for this example, I would maybe create a category called modified, and I will have a short name with called new. So what this does is creating a folder called modified, and there the new building is. So it's just a way for me to have a nice overview of what's actually inside the model. So once that's done, I can go to my checking again and get my rule set called Model Revision Comparison Architecture. And before I run the check, I want to just check if my old and new model is set to what I want. So old model and new model, that's great. You can see the coloring as well. So it's checking for any component coming from the discipline architectural. Again, going back to what I said in the beginning, it's crucial to actually choose your discipline for each model. This is why. So I close it down, and we can do the same for space just to be sure. Yes, and then we can go ahead and check model. So what we see here is that we have some objects that are added, we have some objects that are removed, and we have a lot of objects that have been modified. If we dive into the modified, we can see that, for instance, that columns have been modified, and as you can see, the height of the columns have been adjusted. You can also expand these ones and go into detail for each object, and you have a good description of what's actually been going on. So as it says here, there's a volume change, there's a global top elevation change, there's a length change, and so on and so forth. So now that we discovered some of the basic checks, we can go ahead and report some of these. I can do this as an example, the column. Usually what I do is I right-click and add to slide. There's a lot of ways of doing this, but I think that this is sufficient. I'm just going to adjust my view. Now, when you create a slide, there's a couple of things that you have to be aware of. First of all, it's critical that we have components with the slide, because these are the actual components in question. So when you create a slide, the components are added, and if you want to add more components, you have to do that within this user interface. You also have a thumbnail that is really important for the receiver so that they know what's going on. And also you can have responsibilities and labels. So in this case, I think it's the architectural, the architect that has the responsibilities for this, but you can also add more responsibilities and labels as you go if you want to. And also what we tend to do is add a person. So typically an email address that could be sufficient so that when you're sorting on the issues, you can quickly look at the email or the discipline who was responsible for this. So the title and the description is already filled out. You can go ahead and adjust these if you want to, but we're not going to do anything special now. And that's it. That's one slide out of many. I can do a couple of more just to show you. Let's do the same for polygons, and let's take these ones. Yeah, the basin. Right click, add slide, and the architect is responsible for this. That's how you report, and we're going to look at, let's see, let's take a door opening. I failed to mention that usually a component check would be, in this case, for checking if a door has this, the required width for a wheelchair or something of that kind to get in and out. And that could be a case. So let me see, component check, dimension, and door, and we have door width. Oh, now there's suddenly a lot of doors, but let's just take this one, add it to slide, architect. I can add my own name just to have something else there. Now, created 3 slides. They are within Solibri, but I haven't communicated to them, and that's what this is all about, communication. There are already a couple of communication presentations here. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to call it Symmetry Webinar. And the key here is to create a new presentation based on the issues that I just showed you, the slides that I just made. So we have 2 from this rule set and we have 1 from this rule set. Click OK, and the presentation is created. And from here you can comment on them, and you can create new pictures if you want to have a different view. Maybe you can add slides, so we have 2 slides. And once you're happy with this, you can hit the report button, and that will prompt the create report interface. Now, Sean briefly mentioned BCF, and you can create BCF reports from this. And what that basically enables is that you can use this report within other softwares like Revit, or you can use it for BIM Collab or any other BCF program, really. We can do a general PDF just to have a quick view, and let's use desktop. And this report is going to be really short, but it gives you a nice example of it. So there you have it, pictures and descriptions and so on. So one last thing I'm gonna show you is that we have, of course, the ability to check. Yeah, no, I showed you that already, didn't I? Yeah, the map models and architectural models. That was the one. Yeah. So here you can see the collisions of walls, which may or may not be a critical one, but some of these may be. Maybe they are lacking a provision for void. Just to wrap it up, this technology and this software is pretty much used in every building project within Norway using BIM today. It is the main tool for checking for all the things that I showed today. It's either its quality assurance, interdisciplinary checks, quantity takes off, you can do measurements, and so on and so forth. There's so much more to this software than I just showed you. This is just the tip of the iceberg, really. Also, what's the beauty of using this, especially in Norway, is that a lot of the bigger contractors and state owners projects, they require IFC as the main delivery software or the main delivery file formats, and Solibri is then a natural way for, at least in my experience, to use in those projects. Thank you.
Yep.
Sean, do you want to
Thanks,
take
everyone.
the stage?
Yeah, no, and I can see this coming across into the likes of Ireland and the UK, where it has been requested that, and it's been here for a while, but everyone was using Navisworks and they've been using other tools to try and meet this IFC demand. And that's why we've partnered up with Solibri. It's because it's the best in class with regards to IFC and other kind of automated rule checks. And yeah, a question has come in about is it still opening, is it still IFC when working with it, when connecting to BIM 360, or can it open Revit models? That's
it's
just one
still
question.
IFC.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
so it's only IFC, yeah.
And that is good, because that's what's been demanded. Everyone is all about open BIM and to try and keep everything in a regulated file format. And that's why IFC is becoming very prominent.
Yes.
To anyone who wants to have a trial of it and see it, if it is of benefit, there's a trial link there on the QR code on the left of the screen. So we'd happily even jump on a call and discuss trying to assist on creating some rule checks for some interested companies. A good day, everyone, and please reach out if you have any questions on any software. It doesn't have to be Solibri. If there's any assistance you need, please reach out.
Thank you.